a man ignoring you, that's not a problem, it's an opportunity, because when a person ignores you, they expect you to react, to chase, to seek validation. But here's the secret. The real power lies in how you respond. And if you do these things, not only will he regret ignoring you, but he'll come back, wondering why he ever took you for granted. Silence is the most powerful answer you can ever give to someone who underestimates your worth. It is the language of the strong, the confident, and the ones who know their value. When he ignores you, don't give him your words, give him your silence. Because words can be debated, but silence is felt, it lingers, it haunts, it makes people question their own actions. Think about it. When a person talks too much, their words lose weight. But when someone who is usually expressive goes quiet, it unsettles people. It creates curiosity, and curiosity leads to regret. The moment you stop responding, he will start wondering. And nothing is more powerful than making someone wonder about you. Have you ever seen a cat chase a laser pointer? The moment you move it, they run after it. But the second you stop, they pause, they stare, they get confused, they try to figure out where it went. When you chase, you confirm their importance. But when you stop, you make them question their own. Silence is the storm before the realization. It is the pause before regret. When a man ignores you, he is playing a power game. He wants you to react. He wants you to prove that his absence affects you, because if you react, he wins. But when you do nothing, when you let the silence stretch, he starts to lose control. And that's when regret sets in. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you text someone and they don't reply. What do most people do? They send another text, then another, and maybe another. But what happens when you text someone and they don't reply, and then you don't either? You shift the dynamic. You make them wonder why you're not reacting. And that wonder leads to doubt. A person who is ignored and doesn't react is someone with inner power. It shows confidence, it shows self-respect, it shows that you are not a puppet to someone else's behavior. The moment you stop chasing, you give him a taste of his own medicine. And trust me, nothing is more bitter than being ignored by someone who once gave you their full attention. Think about the last time you walked into a room and people went silent. It's unsettling, isn't it? It makes you think, why is no one talking? What's going on? That's what silence does. It forces people to think. It creates tension. It makes them uncomfortable. And in that discomfort, they start to realize what they've lost. Look at nature. The loudest people are often the weakest. The strongest forces in this world are silent. The ocean doesn't shout, but its waves can drown you. The wind doesn't scream, but it can destroy entire cities. A lion doesn't have to roar to be respected. Its presence alone is enough. Be like that. Let your silence be your power. Imagine a man who used to take you for granted suddenly noticing that your energy has changed. No more long texts, no more calls, no more waiting around, just silence. He will feel it. He will wonder. And when he finally realizes what he's missing, it will be too late. That's the power of silence. It doesn't beg, it doesn't force, it just makes its absence known. There's a reason why people say silence speaks louder than words. Because words are cheap. Anyone can apologize, anyone can make excuses. But silence forces them to sit with their own thoughts. It forces them to face the reality of what they've done. Picture this. A musician is performing, and suddenly in the middle of the song they stop playing. What happens? The audience leans in. Their attention sharpens. They wait. That moment of silence becomes more powerful than any note played before it. That's exactly what happens when you give silence to someone who expects your reaction. In relationships, the one who can control their emotions controls the situation. And silence is the highest form of emotional control. It shows maturity, it shows self-discipline. It shows that you are not someone who can be manipulated by attention or the lack of it. If you've ever been in a situation where someone ignored you and you responded with silence, you already know how powerful it is. The moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop chasing, everything shifts. Because now he has to deal with his own choices. Now he has to face the reality that you are not like everyone else. Remember this. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. It is self-respect. It is the ultimate way to make someone feel the weight of their own actions. If he ignores you, don't explain, don't argue, don't beg, just go silent and watch what happens next. When someone ignores you, the worst thing you can do is keep your focus on them. The more attention you give them, the more power they have over you. But the moment you shift that energy back to yourself, everything changes. You stop waiting. You stop worrying. You stop feeling like a victim. Instead, you start becoming the main character of your own life again. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and staring at your own reflection. The moment you take your focus away from yourself and place it on someone else, your reflection fades. But the second you bring it back, your presence becomes undeniable. That's the power of focusing on yourself. It makes you visible again, not just to others but to yourself. Think about the sun. It doesn't chase planets. It doesn't beg the moon to stay. It simply shines and everything else naturally orbits around it. Be the sun. Stop chasing. Stop waiting for validation. When you glow from within, people have no choice but to take notice. There's a reason why successful people don't waste time obsessing over those who ignore them. They are too busy building their own lives. They know that the best revenge is success. The best response is growth. The best way to make someone regret losing you is by becoming so incredible that they can't help but notice what they walked away from. Picture a garden. If you keep watering dead plants, nothing will grow. But if you shift your focus to planting new seeds, soon you'll have an entire paradise blooming. The same applies to life. Stop watering dead connections. Stop investing in people who don't invest in you. Start planting new seeds, new habits, new goals, new dreams. Before you know it, your life will be overflowing with abundance, and those who ignored you will wonder how they ever let you go. Think about a time when you were truly happy. Was it because someone finally texted you back? Or was it because you were doing something you loved? Maybe it was when you were working on your passion, traveling, laughing with friends, or simply enjoying your own company. That happiness came from within you, not from them. You don't need anyone to give you joy. You already have the ability to create it for yourself. Have you ever noticed that people are most attracted to those who are confident and independent? It's not an accident. When you focus on yourself, you radiate a different kind of energy, an energy that says, I am whole on my own. And that kind of energy is irresistible. Think about diamonds. They don't beg to be noticed. They don't chase people. They shine so brightly that everyone wants them. Be that. Work on yourself so much that your presence becomes undeniable. And you walk into a room, let your energy speak before you do. Let your success, your confidence, and your self-worth make the noise. Imagine two people sitting in a room. One is constantly refreshing their phone, waiting for a message that may never come. The other is reading a book, working on a project, planning their next move. Who do you think is truly winning in life? The one who waits or the one who grows? When someone ignores you, it's a sign that your attention is being misplaced. Instead of giving them your energy, give it to yourself. Build your mind, strengthen your body, elevate your spirit. Come so focused on improving yourself that you no longer have time to wonder why they aren't paying attention to you. The world doesn't stop for anyone. Life keeps moving. And the only people who get left behind are the ones who waste their time waiting for others to notice them. The moment you shift your focus, you reclaim your power. You stop being the one who waits and start being the one who creates. Look at the most successful people around you. They weren't waiting for someone to acknowledge their worth. They were too busy proving it to themselves. They were working, growing, evolving. That's why they attract the best opportunities, the best relationships, and the best experiences, because they made themselves the priority. You can either be the person who waits for life to happen or the person who makes life happen. The choice is yours. Every time you think about the one who ignored you, redirect that energy. Use it to level up. Use it to become stronger, wiser, and more powerful. Because the truth is, the moment you stop focusing on them is the moment they will start noticing you. There is a deep, almost desperate craving in the human heart for closure. We want explanations, we want apologies, we want that final conversation where they admit they were wrong, where they tell us they regret leaving, where they say the words we've been waiting to hear. But life doesn't always work like that. The reality is, some doors don't close with a satisfying click. They slam shut in the middle of the night, leaving you wide awake, wondering what happened. So what do you do when someone walks away without a goodbye? When they ignore you without a reason? When they leave you hanging in a space of uncertainty? You don't wait for closure. You become the closure. Imagine standing in front of a burning house, hoping the fire will explain itself before you walk away. That's what waiting for closure looks like. You stand there, watching the flames consume you, waiting for an answer that may never come. But the fire doesn't owe you an explanation. The only thing you need to do is walk away before it destroys you too. Think about the times you sat there analyzing their words, replaying their actions, trying to decode the silence. Did it give you peace, or did it only keep you trapped in a cycle of overthinking? Closure is not something they give you. It's something you give yourself the moment you decide, I am done waiting for answers that won't change anything. There's an old saying, you don't need closure, you need clarity. Clarity that their actions spoke louder than any words ever could. Clarity that the way they treated you was the closure. That silence was the message. That disappearing was the answer. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you set yourself free. Imagine a woman waiting at a train station for a train that has already left. Every minute she waits is a minute wasted. The train is not coming back. She can stand there for hours, hoping for an announcement, or she can pick up her bags and move forward. You are that woman. The person you're waiting on is the train that left. Are you going to keep waiting? Or are you going to start walking toward a new destination? Think about the strongest people you know. Do they wait for closure? Or do they create it themselves? They don't waste their energy on people who disappeared. They take that energy and invest it into their own lives. They don't sit around waiting for a final conversation that will never come. They write their own endings. And that's what you must do. You don't need them to tell you why they left. You don't need them to explain their silence. You don't need them to validate your pain. You validate yourself. You close the chapter yourself. You become the person who decides. I don't need their explanation to move on. I choose to move on because I refuse to be held hostage by an unanswered question. Have you ever noticed how the moment you stop seeking closure, peace finds you? It's because closure is not about getting answers. It's about making a decision. A decision to free yourself from the weight of why. A decision to stop waiting for the past to explain itself and start focusing on building a better future. Picture this. You're carrying a heavy suitcase filled with everything they left you with. Unanswered texts, broken promises, confusion, heartbreak. Every step you take with that suitcase makes your journey harder. But the moment you drop it, you feel light, you feel free. That's what happens when you stop seeking closure from them. You drop the weight, you breathe again, you move forward. You are not meant to be stuck in a loop of what ifs and maybes. You are meant to rise, to heal, to grow. And the only way to do that is by closing the door yourself, not waiting for them to do it. Not waiting for words that won't change the past. Not waiting for a moment that may never come. You are the closure. You are the ending. And more importantly, you are the beginning of something greater. There is no greater revenge, no louder response, no stronger statement than thriving without the one who thought you couldn't. The moment you stop drowning in the sadness of his absence and start swimming in the greatness of your own existence, you become untouchable. The power shifts. The regret begins. Because nothing unsettles a man more than seeing the woman he left behind becoming everything he never thought she could be without him. Think about a flower in the wild. It doesn't beg for the rain to come back. It doesn't cry over the lost seasons. It simply continues to grow, reaching toward the sun, blooming with a beauty that demands attention. That is how you must be. When he left, he expected you to wither, to question your worth, to shrink into the shadows of loneliness. But instead you rise. You become something he never imagined, unbothered, unstoppable, and completely out of his reach. People only regret losing what they can no longer have. And nothing makes someone realize your worth faster than seeing you live without them as if they never existed. The moment you start smiling again, laughing again, glowing again, something inside him shifts. Because when he left, he assumed you would wait, that you would break, that you would need his presence to find happiness. But instead you proved that your joy was never in his hands. It was always yours to create. Imagine walking through a room full of people, radiating confidence, exuding success, glowing with the kind of peace that only comes from someone who has healed. Imagine him standing in the corner watching you, realizing that the woman he once took for granted is now someone he could never reach again. That's the kind of power you hold when you thrive without him. You don't need to say a single word. Your existence speaks for itself. Think of a phoenix rising from the ashes. That's you. He thought the fire of heartbreak would destroy you, but instead it made you stronger, more powerful, more alive. He thought leaving you would leave you lost, but instead it set you free. And now, while he looks back wondering if he made a mistake, you're too busy building a life so magnificent that you don't even notice. Look at the most powerful women in history. They weren't waiting for closure. They weren't crying over the ones who left. They were building empires, creating legacies, becoming forces of nature that no one could ignore. That is your destiny. Not to beg for love, not to wait for validation, but to rise so high that the ones who doubted you are left speechless. Imagine a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. The caterpillar stage is over. The pain, the waiting, the transformation, it all led to this moment. And now, with wings open wide, you fly. He watches from below, realizing too late that what he once ignored has become something extraordinary. That's the effect of a woman who thrives. That's the regret of a man who underestimated her. There's a certain beauty in becoming what they thought you never could. A beauty in proving, not with words but with action, that your happiness was never dependent on them. That your glow was not something they controlled. That your strength was not something they could break. You were always meant to shine. He was simply too blind to see it. Think about the times you wasted wondering if he missed you. Now replace that energy with something greater. Build something, chase something, become something. Let your success be the response. Let your peace be the answer. Let your thriving existence be the lesson he never saw coming. Because when you rise, when you truly thrive, the only thing he will be left with is regret. And by then, you will be too far ahead to even notice. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who understands the value of her time. The moment you stop being instantly available to someone who doesn't value you, the entire dynamic shifts. Suddenly, the one who took you for granted starts wondering why your energy is no longer theirs to consume. Suddenly, the one who expected you to wait around starts realizing that you are no longer standing still. The second you stop making yourself an option, you become a priority. If not to them, then to yourself. Think about the sun. It rises and sets on its own terms. It does not wait for permission to shine. It does not dim itself for anyone. And yet the world revolves around it. That is exactly how you must be. Stop being the person who is always ready to answer, always willing to adjust, always available at a moment's notice. The more you give your time away for free, the less it is valued. The more you make someone the center of your world, the easier it is for them to assume you'll always be there. But what happens when the sun no longer rises for them? What happens when you take back your power? That's when they begin to notice. That's when they start to realize what they had but never truly appreciated. Have you ever seen someone chase a butterfly? The harder they try to catch it, the further it flies. That's the secret. Your presence should feel like something valuable, not something easily captured. The moment you stop being readily available, you become something worth chasing. The moment you stop responding instantly, you become something worth waiting for. There is a certain mystery, a certain magnetism in a woman who is selective with her time. And nothing unsettles a man more than realizing that the woman he once took for granted no longer gives him the attention he once assumed was guaranteed. Think of the strongest women you know. Do they jump at every message? Do they pause their lives waiting for someone to notice them? No. They are too busy building themselves, too focused on their own growth, too invested in their own success. And because of that, they naturally attract respect. Their absence speaks louder than any words ever could. Imagine a queen on her throne. Does she run to the door every time someone knocks? Does she drop everything the moment someone calls? No. She moves with purpose. She decides when and where she gives her time. That is how you must carry yourself. Not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. If someone truly values you, they will find a way to reach you. But if you're always available, they will never feel the need to make an effort. There is an undeniable power in making people wait, in showing them that your time is not something to be wasted, in proving that you are not a backup plan, not a convenience, not a last-minute option. The moment you stop being instantly available, you teach people how to treat you. You show them that you are not here to be an afterthought. You are here to be chosen, prioritized, and valued. Picture yourself as a rare diamond placed behind glass. Everyone admires it, everyone desires it, but only those who truly understand its worth are willing to put in the effort to have it. That's how your time should be. Not something given away freely, not something handed out without thought, but something that must be earned. The ones who never valued you will start wondering why you're no longer within reach. The ones who thought you would always be there will realize they were wrong. And the best part? You won't even need to explain. Your absence will speak for itself. The moment you stop being instantly available, you shift the balance. You take back control. You remind yourself and the world that you are not someone to be taken for granted. And in that moment you rise. You become untouchable. You become unforgettable. Because a woman who values her time is a woman no one can afford to lose. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who decides to level up and glow up, not for anyone else, but for herself. The moment you shift your energy from seeking validation to building your own empire, everything changes. The people who once overlooked you suddenly can't stop watching. The ones who doubted you start questioning themselves, and the one who ignored you, he starts regretting every moment he took you for granted. Think of life as a chessboard. You are not a pawn waiting to be moved by someone else. You are the queen, strategic, powerful, and in control of your every move. The moment you decide to step into that power, the world adjusts. The glow up is not just about beauty, it's about strength, self-respect, and the undeniable energy of a woman who knows her worth. Have you ever seen a caterpillar struggle inside its cocoon? It fights, it stretches, it transforms. And when it finally emerges as a butterfly, it doesn't look back at the cocoon. That is your glow up. The pain, the struggle, the heartbreak, it all serves a purpose. It's shaping you, preparing you, making you into someone unrecognizable to the version of you that once settled for less. And when you finally spread your wings, the people who once dismissed you will have no choice but to admire the transformation. Imagine walking into a room, head high, glowing with confidence, radiating an energy so strong that people can't help but turn and stare. Not because of what you're wearing, not because of who you're with, but because of the undeniable shift in your presence. That's what happens when you level up. Your aura changes, your energy becomes magnetic, and suddenly the one who ignored you starts to wonder how he ever let you go. Think about the most successful, radiant women you admire. Do you think they wasted time crying over someone who didn't see their value? No, they took that pain and turned it into power. They built their minds, their bodies, their souls into something unstoppable. That is what you must do. Work on yourself in silence and let your success, your glow, your unstoppable confidence make the noise. There is something incredibly attractive about a woman who is too busy winning to care about who's watching. The moment you shift your focus from why didn't he choose me to how can I become the best version of myself, you unlock a different level of life. You start glowing differently. You speak with more authority. You move with more purpose. And that glow up, it becomes undeniable. Think of a diamond. It doesn't beg to be noticed. It doesn't chase anyone for attention. It simply shines. And the right people recognize its value. That is exactly how you must carry yourself. Stop chasing. Stop explaining. Stop waiting. Instead, start building. Start improving. Start evolving. Because the moment you become the best version of yourself, the one who ignored you will start wishing he had treated you better. Picture this. Months from now, you walk past him. Your energy radiant, your success undeniable, your presence something he no longer has access to. And at that moment, he realizes what he lost. But by then, you're too far ahead to care. That's the beauty of leveling up. You don't do it for revenge. You do it for yourself. But the side effect? The one who once ignored you will have no choice but to regret it. Your glow up is not about looking good for someone else. It's about becoming so fulfilled within yourself that you no longer seek validation from anyone. It's about looking in the mirror and loving what you see, not just on the outside, but within. It's about becoming a force so strong that nothing and no one can break you again. That is the ultimate power. And once you step into it, you become. Emotions are powerful, but only when you control them. When they control you, they become your greatest weakness. A single emotional outburst can undo months of self-respect, making you appear desperate, powerless, and at the mercy of someone else's actions. The strongest person in the room is not the one who yells the loudest, but the one who stays calm while everyone else loses control. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the rain beats down, and everything around you is chaotic. Now imagine being a mountain, unshaken, unmoved, standing tall despite the storm. That is the power of emotional discipline. When someone ignores you, betrays you, or hurts you, the natural instinct is to react, to scream, to demand answers, to make them feel the same pain. But reacting emotionally gives them control. It tells them, I still care, I am still affected, and that is exactly what they want. Have you ever seen a chess master panic when their opponent makes a move? No. They sit back, analyze, and strategize. That's how you need to be in life. Every time someone provokes you, they are making a move. And your reaction determines whether you win or lose the game. If you explode in anger, cry, or beg for explanations, you are handing them victory. But if you remain composed, unreadable, and indifferent, you are playing the long game. One where you emerge stronger. Think about the last time someone upset you and you reacted in anger. Did it change anything? Did it bring you peace? Or did it leave you feeling regretful, exhausted, and even weaker than before? Emotional outbursts are like fire. You think they will destroy your enemy, but most of the time they end up burning you instead. The real power lies in silence, in self-control, in making people wonder what you're thinking, instead of showing them your pain. A lion doesn't roar at every insult. It chooses when to strike. A queen doesn't react to every fool in the kingdom. She moves with grace and strategy. You must be the same. If someone ignores you, don't chase them with emotions. Let them feel your absence. Let them wonder about your silence. Let them realize what they took for granted without you saying a single word. That silence will haunt them more than any argument ever could. There is nothing more unsettling to a person who expects you to break down than watching you remain unbothered. It forces them to question themselves. Did I make the right choice? Why isn't she reacting? Why isn't she fighting for my attention? The moment you stop giving emotional reactions, you shift the power dynamic. You are no longer the one waiting for validation. You become the mystery they cannot solve. Have you ever seen someone regret ignoring or hurting another person? It's never because the person screamed at them or begged for closure. Regret always comes when they realize the one they hurt has moved on, unshaken, untouched. Your emotional self-control is not about suppressing feelings. It's about redirecting them into something more powerful. Instead of wasting energy on anger or sadness, use that energy to build yourself, to improve, to become someone so magnetic that they cannot ignore you any longer. Think about water. It adapts. It flows. It finds a way. It does not fight the rocks in its path. It moves around them, carving its own way forward. You must be like water, flexible, unstoppable, unbothered by temporary obstacles. Let people do what they want. Let them ignore you, let them doubt you, let them think you are weak, and then surprise them with your strength, your growth, your refusal to react emotionally to their games. When you master emotional control, you become untouchable. You stop wasting time on people who don't deserve your energy. You stop explaining yourself to those who have already made up their minds. You stop allowing temporary emotions to create permanent regrets. And the best part? You start living on your terms, unaffected, unstoppable, and more powerful than ever before. People often show you exactly how they expect to be treated. The problem is, most of us don't listen. We cling to our own expectations, our own desires, our own version of reality, ignoring the truth that's right in front of us. But here's a secret. The most powerful response to someone's actions is not words, not tears, not desperate attempts to make them change. The most powerful response is to mirror them, but with dignity. If he is distant, you become distant. If he takes hours to reply, you take hours, or even longer. If he cancels plans last minute, you suddenly have your own schedule that cannot accommodate last-minute changes. You don't do this out of spite. You don't do it to play games. You do it to teach him how it feels. Imagine, you're texting someone, pouring effort into the conversation, waiting eagerly for their response, only for them to reply with a single-word answer after hours. That feeling of being unimportant, of being a backup plan, of being tolerated instead of cherished. It stings. But why keep tolerating what you don't deserve? Instead of over-explaining your worth, let them experience the absence of your attention. A person will only value something when they feel the risk of losing it. Think about a mirror. It doesn't add or subtract from what it reflects. It simply shows you what's already there. When you mirror someone's energy, you force them to confront their own behavior. If he is inconsistent, let him experience inconsistency. If he acts uninterested, let him see what it feels like when you do the same. But here's the key. You do it with dignity. No pettiness, no passive-aggressive remarks, no childish games. You simply match his level. And let him decide if that's what he truly wants. Have you ever noticed how people chase what they can't have? It's human nature. When something is always available, it's taken for granted. But when it starts slipping away, it suddenly becomes valuable. If he has been treating you like an option, you don't argue about it. You simply stop being available. If he reaches out only when it's convenient for him, you stop responding with eagerness. He will start to notice the shift, and that's when realization kicks in. Some might say, but isn't that playing games? No. It's setting a standard. There's a difference between manipulation and self-respect. Manipulation is pretending to be something you're not to get a reaction. Self-respect is recognizing that your time, energy, and love are valuable and refusing to give them freely to someone who doesn't appreciate them. When you mirror his behavior, you are not pretending, you are simply adjusting to reality. Picture this, you're walking through a marketplace and you see two stalls. One vendor is eager, calling you over, lowering their prices, begging for you to buy. The other vendor is calm, confident, not chasing customers, but letting them come on their own. Which one feels more valuable? The one who knows their worth. People respect what they feel they have to earn. So when he notices that your world no longer revolves around him, when he realizes that the energy he gives is the energy he gets, he will have two choices. Either step up and treat you with the respect you deserve, or watch as you walk away without a single complaint. And that's the power of mirroring. It's not about hurting him, it's about showing him a reflection of his own choices. When you stop overgiving, when you stop chasing, when you stop explaining why you deserve better, and simply start living like you already know it, the dynamic shifts. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You have already chosen yourself. And in that moment, you become the kind of person that people don't want to lose. Life is constantly knocking at your door with new opportunities, but too often people are too busy staring at the door that closed to even notice. They keep waiting, hoping, and dwelling on the past, unaware that the world is full of possibilities waiting to be embraced. The moment you shift your focus from what you lost to what you can gain. You open yourself up to a life that is far greater than you ever imagined. Imagine you're holding a glass of dirty water. If you keep clenching it, refusing to let it go, your hands will always be full of something that no longer serves you. But the moment you release it, you make space for something new, something fresh, something pure, something better. This is exactly how life works. When you keep yourself stuck in the past, clinging to what didn't work out, you are blocking your own growth. But when you decide to open your doors, when you welcome the unknown with courage, you give yourself the chance to experience something beyond your wildest dreams. Think about a job that you stayed in for too long, even though it drained you. You feared leaving because of uncertainty, but the moment you walked away, something greater showed up. The same applies to relationships. If someone has ignored you, devalued you, or made you feel like an option, why are you still waiting for them? Why are you hesitating to open yourself up to better experiences, better friendships, better love? Opportunities don't always come knocking loudly. Sometimes they whisper. They appear in the form of an idea, a new friend, an unexpected offer, or even a challenge that pushes you outside your comfort zone. But if you are still consumed by the past, still stuck in old patterns, you won't recognize them. You must have the courage to move forward, to step into new spaces, to allow life to show you something better. Have you ever seen someone chase after a bus that has already left? It's pointless. No matter how fast they run, the bus is gone. But the funny thing is, another bus will always come. The problem is many people keep standing at the same stop, staring at the empty road, refusing to look for a new ride. They waste time mourning what they missed instead of getting ready for what's next. You are not meant to wait for someone who doesn't see your worth. You are meant to move, to explore, to discover. A woman who understands her value doesn't beg for love, she attracts it. She doesn't wait for a closed door to reopen, she finds another one and walks through it without fear. You must become that person. You must embrace the idea that better opportunities exist, that love can find you in ways you never expected, that success is waiting for you, but only if you are willing to step forward. If he ignored you, that's his loss. But if you stay stuck, that's yours. There are people out there who will cherish your presence, who will value your time, who will celebrate your existence. But you must be open to receiving them. When you let go of what is no longer serving you, you create space for what is meant for you. You weren't created to beg for someone's attention. You were created to live, to evolve, to thrive. So stop knocking on the same door that is already closed. Turn around and you'll see a whole new world waiting for you. The time has come to stop waiting at the doorstep of someone who never truly valued you. The moment you realize your worth, the world shifts in your favor. You are not a second choice, an afterthought, or someone to be placed on hold until it's convenient for them. You are the main event, the masterpiece, the force of nature that cannot be ignored. When someone chooses to overlook you, they are making a mistake, one they will regret, one that will haunt them when they finally understand what they lost. You see, people always recognize value when it's too late. It's human nature. The moment you pull away, the moment you stop begging, stop waiting, stop hoping, they feel it. They sense the shift in energy. It unsettles them. They start to wonder, what happened? Why is she no longer chasing? Why is she glowing without me? And that is when they begin to regret it. Not when you cry. Not when you text long paragraphs. Not when you explain yourself over and over. Regret is born in silence, in absence, in the realization that you were not just another person. You were the best thing they had, and they were blind enough to lose you. The greatest revenge is not anger, it's not hate, it's not proving a point. The greatest revenge is rising so high that they have to tilt their head back just to catch a glimpse of you. Success is the loudest silence. It speaks for itself. So let them ignore you now. Let them take you for granted. Let them believe they have won. Because the day will come when they will type your name into search bars, hoping to see where life has taken you. They will scroll through your pictures, looking for traces of the girl who once loved them. But they won't find her, because she has evolved. She has stepped into her power. She has become something untouchable. You were never meant to be an option. You were meant to be the standard. The moment you embrace this truth, your life will change. Stop standing in the shadows of those who don't see your light. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission to shine. Take that power back. Walk like the universe moves for you. Speak like your words shape reality. Love yourself so fiercely that even those who once underestimated you will sit back in awe, wondering how they ever let you go. Remember this, people don't forget the ones who walked away with dignity. They don't forget the ones who didn't fight for crumbs of attention but instead feasted at tables of self-respect. They don't forget the ones who turned their pain into power, their heartbreak into a masterpiece. And that's exactly what you are, a masterpiece in motion. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer hoping. You are no longer looking back. You are stepping forward with grace, with strength, with the kind of confidence that makes the world stop and stare. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them regret. But you are done looking back. You are too busy becoming everything they said you never would be.